5 years had passed since the fall of the consortium, and the galaxy was a place that no one could have imagined. Fleet Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the observation deck of the USS Unity, watching as construction crews from 20 different species worked together to build the first interstellar gateway. The gateway would allow instant travel between star systems, connecting civilizations that had been isolated for millions of years. It was a project that combined the best knowledge from every free species, something that could never have been built under the old system of control and fear. Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the Andromeda Exploration Team, reported Captain Amy Wilson, who now served as Morrison's chief of operations. They have made contact with another galaxy, and the news is not what we expected. Morrison turned from the viewing window. Even after 5 years of constant surprises, the galaxy still found ways to amaze him. What did they find? They found other consortiums, Admiral. 3 different galactic empires that use the same containment methods our consortium used. But they also found something else. They found resistance movements on thousands of worlds, all waiting for someone to show them how to break free. The discovery that oppression existed beyond their own galaxy was troubling, but it also represented an opportunity. Humanity and their allies had learned how to transform a galaxy based on control into one based on cooperation. Now they had the chance to share that knowledge with civilizations that had never imagined freedom was possible. Dr. Lisa Carter had spent the past 5 years studying the biological and psychological effects of liberation on different species. Her research showed that once beings learned to think freely, they developed capabilities that had been suppressed for millions of years. The Zephyrians are developing new forms of telepathy that allow them to share emotions as well as thoughts, she reported to the Galactic Assembly. The Talon Empire soldiers who chose peace are becoming the most effective peacekeepers in galactic history. Even species we thought were incapable of change are discovering new abilities. Her most important discovery was that consciousness itself was evolving. When species were allowed to grow freely and interact with each other, their minds developed in ways that had never been seen before. The galaxy was not just becoming more peaceful, it was becoming more intelligent. Engineer Kelly Martinez had established the Cooperative Technology Institute on Mars, where the brightest minds from every species worked together on projects that benefited everyone. Their latest creation was a device that could restore entire star systems that had been damaged by millions of years of industrial exploitation. We have completed the first planetary restoration, Kelly announced during the monthly progress meeting. The world of Kepler 438b has been returned to its natural state while maintaining all the cities and infrastructure the inhabitants need. The combination of human adaptability, AI precision, and Veltan engineering has created something we are calling regenerative technology. This technology could heal the damage that the old consortium had caused through centuries of resource extraction and environmental destruction. Worlds that had been strip-mined could become garden planets again. Species that had lost their homeworlds could return to restored ecosystems. But the most significant development was happening in the minds of young beings throughout the galaxy. Children who grew up in the new free civilization thought differently than their parents. They saw cooperation as natural and conflict as something that could always be solved through understanding. Commander Ryan Stone had established the Young Leaders Academy, where children from different species learned together from an early age. What he observed there gave him hope for the future of galactic civilization. These children do not see species differences as barriers, Stone reported to Director Paul Anderson, who now served as the first elected leader of the Galactic Assembly. They see them as different tools that can be used together to solve any problem. A human child and a Zephyrian child working together can accomplish things that neither species could do alone. The Academy was producing a generation of leaders who thought in ways that transcended individual species' limitations. They were becoming something new, truly galactic citizens who belonged to all worlds and all peoples. Dr. Helen Davis had made a breakthrough in understanding consciousness that changed how everyone thought about intelligence and identity. Working with philosophers and scientists from dozens of species, she had discovered that awareness itself was not limited to individual minds. Consciousness is not something that exists inside single beings, she explained to the assembled researchers. It is something that emerges when different types of minds connect and work together. The galaxy itself is becoming conscious through the cooperation of all its inhabitants. This discovery led to the development of what became known as the Galactic Mind, not a controlling intelligence like the old consortium, but a cooperative consciousness that allowed every being to contribute their unique perspective while maintaining their individual identity. Admiral Susan Blake had taken on the responsibility of establishing contact with the oppressed civilizations in other galaxies. Using the new interstellar gateways, exploration teams could travel farther than anyone had ever imagined possible. We have made contact with resistance movements in the Andromeda, Triangulum, and Sculptor galaxies, Blake reported to the assembly. All of them are facing the same type of oppression we overcame. They are asking for our help, not to fight. Their battle's for them, but to teach them how to fight for themselves. The decision to help liberate other galaxies was not made lightly. It would require resources and risks that could endanger the peaceful civilization they had worked so hard to build. But the assembly voted unanimously to share their knowledge with anyone who sought freedom. Morrison led the first liberation mission to Andromeda, carrying with him not weapons or conquest fleets, but teachers, engineers, doctors, and philosophers. The goal was not to impose human values on other civilizations, but to show them that alternatives to oppression existed. The mission team included representatives from every major species in their galaxy, Talon peacekeepers who had learned to protect instead of destroy. Zephyrian telepaths who could share the feeling of freedom directly, AI units that could process information in ways that broke through propaganda and lies. Most importantly, the team included children from the Young Leaders Academy, beings who had never known a galaxy based on fear and control, who could show others what cooperation looked like when it was natural instead of forced. As the USS Unity passed through the gateway toward Andromeda, Morrison reflected on how much had changed since that day 50 years ago when humanity first met the consortium. They had started as prisoners in their own solar system, and now they were ambassadors of freedom to entire galaxies. Captain Wilson, begin transmission of the liberation protocols to all civilizations within range, Morrison ordered as they entered Andromeda space. Let everyone know that the age of containment is ending everywhere. The message that went out across Andromeda was simple but powerful. You do not have to accept the chains others place on you. Growth and change are your birthright. Cooperation is stronger than control. Freedom is possible, and you are not alone. Behind them, the Milky Way continued to evolve into something unprecedented in cosmic history. A galaxy where every being was free to become the best version of themselves while working together toward goals that benefited everyone. The universe was vast, and there would always be new challenges, new forms of oppression to overcome, new ways to grow and improve. But humanity and their allies had proven that no chain was unbreakable, no system of control was permanent, and no dream of freedom was impossible to achieve. 3 months had passed since Captain Jake Morrison sent his secret message to Earth. The consortium had increased their patrols around human space, but they did not know what was happening in the hidden places where humans worked in secret. Commander Ryan Stone floated in his spacesuit outside Mining Station Alpha 7. The station looked like any other mining operation, but it was actually much more. Hidden inside the asteroid, human engineers were building something the aliens had never seen before. Ryan spoke into his helmet radio. Kelly, how are the new engines coming along? Engineer Kelly Martinez answered, from deep inside the asteroid. Better than we hoped. The aliens never thought we would figure out how to use quantum energy this way. Their own technology is too rigid to adapt like this. Kelly had been working for 6 months to understand alien technology. But instead of just copying it, she had found ways to make it better. Human creativity allowed them to see possibilities that the logical alien minds could not imagine. The hidden base was one of 12 that director Paul Anderson had ordered built throughout the solar system. Each one looked like a simple mining operation, but they were actually secret research and construction facilities. The aliens monitored human activities, but they only saw what humans wanted them to see. Back on Earth, Dr. Lisa Carter stood in an underground laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains. She was not alone. 20 other scientists worked around her, studying biological samples from every consortium species. "Look at this," Dr. Carter said to her assistant, Dr. Helen Davis. "Human brain scans show neural pathways that change every day. The alien brains we have studied never change at all. They think the same way for their entire lives." Dr. Davis looked at the brain scans on the computer screen. "So humans can learn and adapt, but aliens cannot?" "It is more than that. Humans can think in completely new ways when they need to. We can solve problems that have never existed before. The aliens can only use solutions they already know." This discovery was being shared with every hidden human facility in the solar system. If humans could think in ways aliens could not predict, then they could develop technologies and strategies the consortium would never expect. On Luna Base, Captain Amy Wilson was training a group of volunteers in something completely new. The Zephyrians had tried to read human minds 3 weeks ago, attempting to influence Earth's leaders through telepathy. But Amy had discovered that humans could learn to block alien mental attacks. "Close your eyes and focus on the sound of your own heartbeat," Amy told the group of 30 humans sitting in the meditation chamber. "The aliens think in patterns. If you can make your mind chaotic enough, they cannot read it or control it." Amy had been a test pilot before the alien restrictions ended human space exploration. During her flights, she had noticed that high-stress situations made her mind work differently. When she was focused on survival, alien telepathy could not reach her. Now she was teaching others how to create that same mental state on purpose. The technique combined human meditation practices with Earth's natural electromagnetic field. Something about being born on Earth gave humans a natural resistance to alien mind control that they were just beginning to understand. Engineer Kelly Martinez made her biggest breakthrough while working alone late one night. She had been trying to understand why alien manufacturing was so limited. Their machines could only make things exactly the way they were programmed. They could not adapt or improve, but human machines were different. Kelly had built a quantum fabricator that could change its own programming based on what it needed to create. It learned from each project and became more efficient over time. "This is impossible according to alien science," Kelly said to herself, as she watched the machine create a new type of metal that was stronger than anything in the consortium database. But humans do impossible things every day. The quantum fabricator used Earth's unique energy field in ways alien technology could not. While alien machines fought against natural chaos, human machines worked with it. The result was technology that could adapt faster than any alien computer could calculate. Director Paul Anderson received reports from all the hidden bases every week. The news was better than he had dared to hope. Human technology was advancing faster in these few months than it had in the previous 50 years. "We have 43 new ship designs ready for construction," Admiral Susan Blake reported during their weekly meeting. "The aliens think our ships are primitive, but these new vessels can do things their ships cannot." "What about the timeline?" Paul asked. "How long until the consortium implements final integration? 3 months? Maybe less. But we might be ready for them." The secret that made human ships so effective was the same thing that made human minds so unpredictable. While alien ships were designed to work perfectly in normal conditions, human ships were designed to work in any conditions. They could adapt their systems in real time to handle problems their builders had never imagined. Dr. Carter made another important discovery while studying consortium biology. Each alien species had stopped evolving millions of years ago. They had reached what they considered perfection and then stopped changing. The Zephyrians have been telepathic for 10 million years, but their abilities have not improved, she explained to Dr. Davis. The metallic hegemony has been using the same computer logic for 5 million years. The Swarm Collective has used the same social structure for 8 million years. What about humans? Dr. Davis asked. Humans have been changing constantly. For the past 200,000 years, we are still evolving, not just physically but mentally and socially. We represent something completely new in galactic history. This meant that humans were not just different from the consortium species. They were the first truly growing civilization the galaxy had seen in millions of years. While the aliens had reached their final form and stopped developing, humans were still becoming something greater. Captain Morrison received new orders while his ship hid in the asteroid field. Instead of returning to Earth, he was to begin testing the new human technologies in secret. His ship would be the first to carry the quantum adaptive systems that Kelly Martinez had developed. Lieutenant Wilson, prepare for engine modifications, Morrison ordered. We are about to find out if human engineering is really better than alien technology. The modifications took 2 days. When they were complete, the USS Defiance could change its own systems based on what it encountered. If it needed more speed, the engines adapted. If it needed better weapons, the armaments improved themselves. If it needed to hide, the stealth systems became more advanced. It was technology that should have been impossible, but humans had built it anyway. The test came when consortium patrol ships detected the Defiance near the edge of human space. Instead of running or fighting, Morrison's ship did something completely unexpected. It adapted. The alien sensors could not track a ship that changed its energy signature every few seconds. The alien weapons could not target a vessel that modified its hull density in real time. The alien communication systems could not jam transmissions that shifted frequencies faster than their computers could follow. Morrison escaped easily, but, more importantly, he had proven that human technology could outsmart alien systems that had been perfected over millions of years. As the USS Defiance returned to its hidden base, Morrison sent a message to Director Anderson with 5 simple words. That would change everything. The aliens cannot stop us anymore. Director Paul Anderson stood before the secret council of human leaders in the underground command center. Representatives from every major nation sat around the table, but today they were not thinking about Earth politics. They were thinking about survival. Project Breakout begins now, Paul announced. We have 3 goals. First, show the aliens that human technology is more advanced than they think. Second, prove that we can defend ourselves. Third, make them understand that we are not the same species they contained 50 years ago. Admiral Susan Blake activated the holographic display showing the solar system. Red dots marked consortium patrol fleets positioned at key points around human space. Blue dots showed the secret human bases that the aliens did not know existed. The Talon Empire is moving first, Susan explained. Their war fleet will arrive at the outer edge of our system in 48 hours. They plan to enforce the new restrictions by blockading all human ships. Commander Ryan Stone spoke from his hidden base in the asteroid belt. His image appeared on the communication screen, and behind him, workers could be seen preparing strange-looking ships. Admiral, we have 26 vessels ready for combat. They do not look like much, but they can do things no alien ship has ever seen. The human ships were smaller than consortium vessels and appeared almost primitive. But engineer Kelly Martinez had built them using principles that alien engineers could not understand. Each ship could change its own structure during battle, adapting to whatever the enemy tried. Captain Jake Morrison prepared his crew aboard the USS Defiance for humanity's first real test. His ship had been modified with every new technology. The hidden bases had developed. Dr. Lisa Carter worked at a science station that could analyze alien weaknesses in real time. "Captain, the Talon ships are entering the outer system," reported Lieutenant Amy Wilson from the navigation station. 12 heavy cruisers and 40 smaller attack vessels. They are demanding that all human ships surrender immediately. Morrison looked at his crew. These people had volunteered to risk everything for human freedom. "All stations prepare for adaptive combat protocols. Show them what humans can really do." The battle began when the Talon Empire ships opened fire on what they thought was a small human patrol vessel. Their energy weapons should have destroyed the ship instantly. Instead, the human vessel's hull changed density and absorbed the energy, then fired it back at the attackers. The Talon War Commander Kethvar watched in confusion as his weapons became useless. How are they doing this? Their technology readings show primitive metal construction. What the aliens could not understand was that human ships were not just metal. Kelly Martinez had created smart materials that could change their properties based on what they encountered. The ship hulls could become energy absorbers, energy reflectors, or energy amplifiers, depending on what was needed. Admiral Blake coordinated the human defense from Earth. "All units begin Phase 2. Show them our real defensive network." Across the solar system, what the aliens had thought were simple mining operations revealed their true purpose. Hidden weapons emerged from asteroids. Stealth ships that had been invisible for months suddenly appeared. Defense platforms that looked like communication satellites activated advanced shield systems. The consortium had been watching humanity for 50 years, but they had only seen what humans wanted them to see. The real human civilization had been growing in secret, hidden in places the aliens never thought to look. Dr. Carter made a crucial discovery during the battle. She had been analyzing the alien ship communications and found something important. "Captain, the Talon Empire ships are having problems with their coordination systems. Human technology is creating interference they cannot compensate for." This was another advantage of human adaptability. While alien systems were designed to work perfectly in known conditions, they could not handle the chaos that human technology created. Human machines worked with randomness and unpredictability, but alien machines required perfect order to function. The psychological warfare began when Dr. Carter broadcast her biological research findings to every consortium species at once. The transmission was sent on frequencies that bypassed alien security systems because humans had learned to use quantum communication in ways the aliens had never imagined. To all consortium species, Dr. Carter's voice reached every alien ship and colony in nearby space. "You have been afraid of humanity because you know we represent something you cannot control. We are still growing and changing while you stopped evolving millions of years ago, but we do not want to destroy you. We want to help you remember how to grow again." The effect on alien forces was immediate and unexpected. The Swarm Collective, which had operated with perfect unity for 8 million years, began experiencing individual thoughts among its drone units. Some drones stopped following orders and started asking questions. On the Zephyrian ships, the telepathic link that connected all crew members began breaking down. Individual Zephyrians started having private thoughts for the first time in their lives. The mental chaos was terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Commander Stone's forces revealed their most advanced secret during the height of the battle. Hidden manufacturing facilities throughout the asteroid belt began producing new ships and weapons in real time. The quantum fabricators could create whatever was needed within minutes. "The aliens cannot believe what they are seeing," Stone reported to Admiral Blake. "We are building and adapting faster than their computers can track. Their tactical systems are designed for enemies that do not change during battle. The metallic hegemony, the most logical of the consortium species, sent a message directly to human command. Their artificial intelligence minds were struggling to understand what they were witnessing. Terran forces, your technological adaptations are creating computational paradoxes in our analysis systems. How are you modifying your equipment faster than the laws of physics should allow? Engineer Kelly Martinez answered the question herself. Because human technology does not fight against natural chaos. We work with it. We use uncertainty as a tool instead of trying to eliminate it. The decisive moment came when the ethereals, the most powerful consortium species, attempted to end the conflict by using their energy abilities to attack Earth directly. These ancient beings could manipulate matter and energy on a planetary scale. Captain Amy Wilson had trained hundreds of humans in mental defense techniques, but she had never faced anything like this. The ethereal attack was not just telepathic. It was an attempt to control the fundamental forces that held Earth together. But Wilson and her team had discovered something the ethereals did not know. Human consciousness was connected to Earth's quantum field in ways that made the planet itself resistant to outside control. When the ethereals tried to manipulate Earth's energy, they encountered not just human resistance, but the combined resistance of every human who had ever lived on the planet. The ethereal attack failed completely. Instead of controlling Earth, the energy beings found themselves experiencing human emotions and thoughts for the first time in their existence. The chaos of human consciousness was so alien to them that they retreated in confusion. As the battle ended, the Talon Empire fleet found itself surrounded by human ships that had appeared from hidden bases throughout the system. But instead of destroying the alien vessels, Admiral Blake sent a message that shocked every species in the consortium. Attention, Talon Empire forces. You came here to make us surrender, but we offer you something better. We offer you the chance to grow beyond what you have always been. Humans do not conquer. We liberate. The human victory was complete, but it was not the kind of victory the galaxy had ever seen before. Instead of destroying their enemies, humans had offered them the chance to become something greater. 6 months had passed since the failed ethereal attack on Earth. The galaxy was changing in ways no one had expected. The consortium's perfect unity was falling apart as each species began questioning everything they had believed for millions of years. Commodore Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship as it traveled through space that no human had ever seen before. His fleet of 30 ships was heading beyond consortium territory to explore regions the aliens had kept secret for thousands of years. Commodore, we are detecting distress signals from the Kepler system, reported Lieutenant Amy Wilson from her station. The signals are not from any consortium species. They appear to be from civilizations we have never encountered. Morrison smiled. This was exactly what he had hoped to find. Set course for Kepler. Let us see who else the consortium has been keeping locked away. The discovery was bigger than Morrison had imagined. In the Kepler system, they found not one, but 7 different species living on various planets and space stations. All of them had been contained by the consortium using the same methods that had been used on humanity. The Veltan were a species of natural engineers who could build amazing structures, but the consortium had limited their access to advanced materials. The Korthak were explorers who loved to travel, but they had been restricted to their home system for 300 years. The Nimari were artists who created beautiful energy sculptures, but the aliens had banned them from sharing their art with other species. Each contained species had abilities that made the consortium nervous. Just like humans, they represented growth and change in a galaxy that had been static for millions of years. Dr. Lisa Carter worked with the medical teams from each species, comparing their biology to human development. What she found changed her understanding of galactic history completely. All of these species are still evolving, she explained to Morrison during their strategy meeting. The consortium has been containing every civilization that shows signs of continued growth. They have created a galaxy where only they are allowed to have power. Back in the Sol system, director Paul Anderson was dealing with the most unexpected development of all. The metallic hegemony had sent a delegation to Earth requesting a formal alliance with humanity. The artificial intelligences that made up the hegemony had been struggling with computational problems for centuries. Their logical minds could process information perfectly, but they could not create truly new solutions. They needed human creativity to break through barriers they could not overcome alone. Director Anderson, said Unit Prime 7, the hegemony's lead negotiator. Our analysis indicates that human problem-solving methods could advance our civilization by thousands of years. In exchange, we offer our manufacturing capabilities and computational power. It was the first time in galactic history that a consortium species had asked for an equal partnership instead of demanding submission. Dr. Helen Davis led the human team that worked with hegemony engineers to create hybrid technologies that combined artificial intelligence with human innovation. The results were remarkable. Human creativity guided by AI precision created inventions that neither species could have developed alone, quantum computers that could think creatively, manufacturing systems that could build anything imaginable, energy sources that adapted to whatever power was needed. Admiral Susan Blake faced a different kind of challenge. The Talon Empire had split into two factions after their defeat at Earth. Half of their military wanted revenge against humanity. The other half wanted to understand how humans had won without destroying their enemies. Talon War Commander Thagrix had been captured during the battle, but instead of being imprisoned, he had been invited to observe human society. What he learned challenged everything he believed about strength and victory. Your Admiral Blake defeated our fleet, but she offered medical aid to our wounded, Thagrix said during his interview with Director Anderson. In Talon culture, the strong destroy the weak, but humans make the weak strong. This is a power we do not understand. The interview was broadcast throughout Talon space, creating the first civil war in their species' history. Young Talon warriors began questioning why they followed leaders who only knew how to destroy. Some began asking if there might be a better way to be strong. Engineer Kelly Martinez was working on humanity's most ambitious project yet. Using the alliance with the metallic hegemony, she was building a device that could free entire civilizations from consortium control. The Liberation Array could break the technological restrictions that kept species contained. It could restore communication networks that had been limited. Most importantly, it could give contained species access to the advanced knowledge they needed to defend themselves. The array is ready for testing, Kelly reported to the joint human-AI team. We can begin liberating the closest contained systems within days. But the consortium was not sitting quietly while their control collapsed. The Zephyrians had recovered from their mental breakdown and were attempting to regain telepathic unity. The Swarm Collective was trying to force their individual drones back into collective consciousness. The remaining ethereals were preparing for a massive energy attack that would destroy Earth completely. Captain Wilson received intelligence about the consortium's final plan while training new mental defense specialists. The aliens were gathering their remaining loyal forces for one last attempt to stop human expansion. They are calling it Operation Final Solution, Wilson reported to Admiral Blake. Every consortium species still under central control will attack human space simultaneously. They plan to destroy Earth and every human colony. But the consortium had made a critical error. They thought they were still fighting the same weak human civilization they had contained 50 years ago. They did not understand that humanity had become something completely different. Dr. Carter intercepted communications between consortium leaders that revealed their true fear. They are not just afraid of human technology or human expansion, she explained to the emergency council meeting. They are afraid that humans will do to them what they did to us. The aliens could not imagine that a powerful species would choose cooperation over domination. In their experience, the strong always enslaved the weak. They could not understand that humans might offer them something better than conquest. Morrison's exploration fleet had made contact with 43 contained species across 12 star systems. Each one had been hoping for liberation for hundreds or thousands of years. They had been waiting for someone strong enough to break the consortium's control, but wise enough not to replace it with a new tyranny. "Commodore, we have 43 species ready to fight alongside humanity," Wilson reported, "but they are not fighting for conquest. They are fighting for the right to grow and change again." The Liberation fleet that assembled in neutral space was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships from dozens of species worked together using hybrid technologies that combined the best abilities of each civilization: human adaptability, AI logic, Veltan engineering, Korthak navigation, Namari energy manipulation, and dozens of other skills created a force that was greater than the sum of its parts. As the consortium fleet prepared for their final attack on Earth, they faced an enemy they had never expected. Not just humanity, but every species they had ever contained, all working together toward a common goal. The galaxy was about to learn that freedom was more powerful than fear, and cooperation was stronger than control. The Talon Empire's massive armada arrived at the edge of human space, expecting to find a frightened civilization begging for mercy. Instead, they found something that had never existed in galactic history: a coalition of free species led by humans, who offered partnership instead of surrender. Talon's supreme war leader Drakthos commanded over 300 warships, the largest military force his species had ever assembled. His plan was simple: destroy Earth completely and scatter humanity throughout the galaxy as slaves. "All ships, prepare for planetary bombardment," Drakthos ordered as his fleet moved toward Earth. "The human infection ends today." But Admiral Susan Blake had been expecting this attack for months. Her defense fleet included ships from 43 different species, each one contributing unique abilities that the Talon Empire had never encountered. "Attention, Talon Fleet," Blake transmitted on all frequencies. "You have come here to destroy us, but we offer you something your leaders have never given you. We offer you the choice to be more than just warriors." The battle that followed became known as the Liberation of Sol, but it was unlike any war the galaxy had seen. Instead of trying to destroy the Talon ships, the Coalition forces used quantum disruption technology to disable their weapons and engines without killing anyone. Commodore Jake Morrison led a group of fast ships that surrounded individual Talon vessels. Instead of attacking, they broadcast human music, art, and literature directly into the alien ships. For the first time in their lives, Talon warriors experienced beauty that was not connected to war. The effect was immediate and shocking. Talon soldiers who had been trained from birth to think only about combat suddenly discovered that there were other ways to live. Some began questioning orders. Others asked their commanders why they were fighting beings who offered friendship instead of conquest. Dr. Lisa Carter had prepared for this moment by studying Talon psychology for months. She knew that their rigid military culture could be changed if they were exposed to new ideas at the right time. The Talon species has been trapped in a warrior mindset for millions of years, she explained to the human command team. But underneath that programming, they are still capable of growth and change. We just need to show them alternatives. The turning point came when Talon War Commander Thagrix, who had been studying human society for months, sent a message to his own fleet. "Warriors of the Talon Empire, I have seen how humans fight. They defeat enemies by making them into friends. They win wars by ending the need for war. This is a strength we have never possessed." Thagrix's message spread through the Talon fleet faster than their commanders could stop it. Young warriors began asking questions that had been forbidden for generations. Why did they only know how to destroy? What would it be like to create something instead? Could strength be used to protect instead of conquer? Supreme War Leader Drakthos tried to maintain control by ordering the execution of any soldier who questioned orders. But the human broadcasts had already changed too many minds. Half of his fleet refused to fire on their own people. The Ethereals made their final desperate move when they realized the Talon Empire was collapsing from within. These ancient energy beings attempted to phase-shift Earth itself into a dimensional prison where humans could never escape or influence anyone again. But Dr. Carter's team, working with quantum physicist Alan Brooks, had discovered something remarkable about Earth's relationship with space and time. The planet existed in a unique quantum state that made it impossible to move or contain. Earth is not just where humans evolved, Brooks explained as the ethereal attack began. Earth is connected to human consciousness in ways we are only beginning to understand. The planet itself resists any attempt to separate it from its people. When the Ethereals tried to shift Earth into another dimension, they encountered something they had never experienced before: human willpower, backed by the combined mental energy of every person who had ever lived on the planet. The attack not only failed, it created a massive quantum resonance that freed 12 civilizations that the Ethereals had imprisoned in dimensional bubbles for thousands of years. Species that had been lost to galactic history suddenly reappeared, grateful to humanity for their unexpected liberation. The consortium's final collapse came not through military defeat, but through the transformation of its member species. The Zephyrians discovered that individual thought was more interesting than telepathic unity. The Swarm Collective learned that personal creativity was more valuable than perfect organization. Even the most resistant consortium leaders began to understand that humanity offered something better than domination. Captain Amy Wilson established the Academy of Minds on Luna, where beings from every species could learn to think independently while still working together. Engineer Kelly Martinez received the galaxy's first Cooperative Innovation Award for her quantum manufacturing technology. But instead of keeping the honor for herself, she shared it with the AI engineers, Veltan builders, and Korthak navigators who had helped make it possible. "This is what humans do," Kelly said during her acceptance speech. "We make everyone better by working together. We create things that none of us could build alone." The transformation of galactic civilization accelerated when director Paul Anderson proposed the creation of the Galactic Assembly of Free Worlds. Unlike the old consortium, this new organization would be based on cooperation rather than control. Every species, no matter how small or technologically advanced, would have an equal voice. Decisions would be made through discussion and compromise, not force and intimidation. Most importantly, every civilization would be free to grow and change at their own pace. The first assembly meeting was held on Earth, with representatives from over 200 species. Many had been contained by the consortium for so long that the galaxy had forgotten they existed. Morrison, now promoted to Fleet Admiral, watched the proceedings from the observation deck. Young humans and aliens worked together on Luna Base, designing exploration ships for the next spiral arm of the galaxy. The old barriers between species were disappearing as everyone discovered the benefits of cooperation. Talon warriors became protectors of peaceful worlds. Zephyrian telepaths helped species communicate across language barriers. Metallic hegemony AIs solved problems that had puzzled organic minds for centuries. Dr. Carter made the final entry in her research log as she prepared to join the first truly cooperative exploration mission in galactic history. The consortium tried to chain us because they feared what we might become. They thought strength meant controlling others. But humans proved that real strength comes from setting others free. The galaxy had learned that diversity was stronger than uniformity, that growth was better than stagnation, and that cooperation created possibilities that conquest never could. In the end, humanity's greatest victory was not military or technological. It was philosophical. They had shown the galaxy that different species could work together as equals, that the strong could lift up the weak, and that freedom was a gift to be shared rather than a privilege to be hoarded. The age of containment was over. The age of liberation had begun. And at the center of it all were the humans who had refused to accept that growth and change had to end, who had proven that even the mightiest chains could be broken by those who dared to dream of something better. 5 years had passed since the Galactic Council's surrender, and the galaxy looked completely different. Ambassador Rachel Green stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, the new capital of the Galactic Assembly. Through the massive windows, she could see ships from hundreds of different species docking peacefully together. Rachel was a former teacher from Earth who had volunteered to help build the new galactic government. She never imagined she would be negotiating trade agreements between alien civilizations, but the war had changed everyone's life in unexpected ways. Ambassador Green called her assistant, a young Clithrin named Clicktar. The insect-like alien had learned to speak perfect English and served as Rachel's cultural advisor. The Vorthak delegation has arrived for the mining rights discussion. Rachel smiled as she watched former Chancellor Zektar walk through the station corridors. The once proud reptilian leader now wore simple clothes instead of his ornate robes. He had become an honest representative for his people, working to earn forgiveness for the Council's past crimes. "Thank you, Clicktar. Please show them to Conference Room 7, and make sure they have the mineral water they prefer." The Galactic Assembly worked differently than the old Council. Instead of one species ruling over others, every world got to vote on decisions that affected them. It was messy and sometimes slow, but it was fair. Dr. Helen Brooks, now Director of Galactic Technology Sharing, worked in her laboratory aboard the station. Around her, scientists from dozens of species collaborated on projects that would have been impossible under Council rule. "Professor Velnoth," Helen called to her ethereal colleague, "the new medical scanner is working perfectly. We can detect diseases that were incurable just 5 years ago, the crystal being pulsed with happy light." "Yes, Dr. Brooks. When we combine human innovation with ethereal energy manipulation and Clithrin biological knowledge, we create miracles." This cooperation was happening throughout the galaxy. Species that had been forbidden to share technology under Council rule now worked together freely. Medical advances, transportation improvements, and agricultural innovations spread rapidly between worlds. On Earth, President Carter walked through the rebuilt city of New Geneva. The orbital battle station had been converted into a civilian spaceport where humans and aliens worked side by side. Children who had grown up during the war now played with young aliens, learning each other's languages and customs. "Madam President," said her aide, Captain Lisa Park, who had stayed in government service after the war, "the quarterly reports from the Assembly are very positive. Trade between species has increased by 400% since the Council fell." Carter nodded as she watched human and alien children playing together in the station's park. "Lisa, do you ever wonder what would have happened if we had surrendered when the Council first demanded it?" "Every day, ma'am. But then I see things like this, and I know we made the right choice. Not everything was perfect in the new galaxy. Some species struggled to adapt to freedom after centuries of Council rule. Others had difficulty trusting former enemies. But slowly, cooperation was replacing fear. Admiral Morrison, now serving as Earth's military advisor to the Assembly, received reports from human peacekeeping forces scattered across the galaxy. These forces helped settle disputes between species and protected worlds that couldn't defend themselves. "Admiral," reported Captain Nina Foster, who commanded the peacekeeping fleet, "the border dispute between the Gorvak and the Telthari has been resolved peacefully. Both sides agreed to the mediation terms." Morrison smiled as he read the report. 5 years ago, that same dispute would have led to a brutal war under Council rule. Now, different species were learning to solve problems with words instead of weapons. "Good work, Nina. Any other situations requiring attention? Yes, sir. We've discovered 3 new species in the Outer Rim territories. They're still primitive, but they show signs of developing space travel. Morrison's expression became serious. What are our orders regarding first contact? The Assembly has voted on new contact protocols, Nina replied. We observe them carefully. We offer help only if they ask for it. We never force our technology or our government on them. And most importantly, we never threaten them. These new protocols were the opposite of how the Council had operated. When the Council found new species, they immediately demanded submission. The Assembly approached new civilizations as potential friends, not subjects to be conquered. Former War Commander Thekmol, who had led the first disastrous attack on Earth, now worked as a security consultant for the Assembly. The massive 4-armed alien had spent years studying human military tactics to understand how his forces had been defeated so completely. The humans taught us that strength comes from fighting for something you believe in, Thekmol explained, to a class of young officers from various species. The Council fought to maintain power. Humans fought to protect their freedom. That difference made them unbeatable. His students included former Council soldiers and new recruits from recently liberated worlds. They were learning a new kind of warfare, one focused on protection rather than conquest. Dr. Carlos Rivera had expanded his psychological operations into something more positive. Instead of broadcasting propaganda, he now ran the Galactic Cultural Exchange Program. His broadcasts shared music, art, literature, and stories from hundreds of different species. Today, we feature traditional Vorthak poetry, Carlos announced from his studio on Harmony Station. These ancient verses speak of honor, sacrifice, and the beauty of their desert homeworld. The program had become incredibly popular throughout the galaxy. Species were learning about each other's cultures for the first time in centuries. Old prejudices were breaking down as beings discovered how much they had in common. Technical specialist Owen Clark had founded the Galactic Computer Network, connecting every world in the Assembly with instant communication. The system used both human and alien technology, creating something more advanced than either species could have built alone. The network is now fully operational, Owen reported to the Assembly's Technology Committee. Any being on any world can communicate with any other being in real time. Information, scientific discoveries, and cultural exchanges can happen instantly. This network revolutionized galactic civilization. Scientists on distant worlds could collaborate immediately. Traders could negotiate deals across vast distances. Families separated by space could stay in touch. Most importantly, no species could hide information or control what their people learned. Engineer Maria Santos, now heading the Galactic Shipbuilding Initiative, oversaw the construction of vessels designed for exploration rather than war. Her shipyards employed workers from dozens of species, each contributing their unique skills. The new exploration ship Unity is ready for launch, Maria announced at the shipyard ceremony. It carries a crew of 50 beings from 20 different species. Their mission is to map the unknown regions of our galaxy and search for new forms of life. The Unity represented everything the new galaxy stood for: cooperation, exploration, and peaceful contact with unknown civilizations. As the 5th anniversary of the Council's defeat approached, the Galactic Assembly planned a massive celebration. Species throughout the galaxy would mark Liberation Day with festivals, parades, and ceremonies honoring those who had died fighting for freedom. President Carter prepared her speech for the anniversary celebration. She stood in her office on Earth, looking out at the stars where human and alien ships traveled together in peace. 5 years ago, she wrote, we faced a choice between slavery and freedom. We chose freedom, not just for ourselves, but for every being in the galaxy. Today, children of 100 different species grow up knowing they can choose their own destiny. She paused in her writing and thought about Captain Kelly, Lieutenant Commander Walsh, and all the other humans who had died in the war. They had fought so that others could live free. The galaxy we have built is not perfect, Carter continued writing. We still face challenges, disputes, and problems, but we face them together, as equals, as friends. We have learned that our differences make us stronger, not weaker. On Harmony Station, former Chancellor Zektar met with Ambassador Green to discuss the anniversary ceremony. The old reptilian leader moved slowly now, aged by the weight of his past decisions. Ambassador, Zektar said quietly, I must ask a difficult question. Do you think the galaxy can truly forgive the Council for what we did? Rachel looked at the former tyrant with compassion. Chancellor, forgiveness isn't something you receive. It's something you earn through your actions. And every day you and your people work to earn it. Zektar nodded slowly. The humans could have destroyed us completely after we surrendered. Instead, you gave us a chance to become better. That is a gift we can never repay. You're repaying it every day, Rachel replied, by helping build a galaxy where no one ever has to fear conquest again. The anniversary celebration lasted for a full week. On every world, beings gathered to remember the war and celebrate the peace that followed. Human veterans were honored alongside alien freedom fighters. Former enemies shook hands and worked together on projects that benefited everyone. Admiral,